But the girl kept smiling. She took me to the swings. I got on and she pushed me higher and higher. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to tell her how glad I was that we were friends. And we can see Cartwheel's body language has changed quite dramatically here. She's smiling. She's soaring towards the sky, a little bit like a bird here. So I'm wondering, maybe Freya Blackwood was trying to help us think about her feeling free. Maybe she has felt so restricted and confined up until this point in the book, and now she's feeling free like a bird that can fly wherever it wants to. And we can see that it actually looks like Cartwheel's flying a little bit. So we're starting to think about that symbolism again. And she thinks that they're friends. Maybe there's been a time in your life that you can connect to here when you wanted to laugh and when you wanted to tell someone that you were so glad you were friends with someone. Text to self connection. Remember, we're trying to think about what can we make connections to today. But I didn't know how. That made me feel sad. When I went home, I hid under my old blanket. I wondered if I would always feel sad. I wondered if I would ever feel like me again. And we can see this metaphorical blanket here. It's got all these different symbols. All these different symbols and all these different images. Perhaps they are from where she used to live. Perhaps they symbolize her old life. And that's what we know, well, that's what we're thinking that was meant by weaving the old with the new. So I'm wondering if she's ever going to feel happy again. Now, your job today is to make some connections. Now, you might make some connections to how the characters are feeling. So that would be a text to self connection. You might make some connections to the events in the story. So maybe some of those events might have happened to you. So again, that's a text to self connection. Maybe you're making a connection to our current world. So maybe you're thinking about what's going on in our world at the moment and how that might relate to this book. But also on top of that, we're thinking about text to text connections. So this book to any other books that you might have read. We're thinking about this book, My Two Blankets, to the world, things that are happening in the world, events that are happening in the world or might have already happened in our world. They don't have to be currently happening. And then text to self. So some of the things that the characters might be experiencing, have you ever experienced some of those as well? You need to complete that in the shared reading doc for week 10.